Okay, so now that we have talked about everything we can possibly talk about for a triangle, now we're going to move on to some other shapes. So these are all the different, I've drawn all the shapes for you all over here, all the different shapes we could be talking about. So we need to know a lot of stuff about these shapes. We need to know their names. We need to know the sum of the interior angles. We need to know the sum of the exterior angles. And we need to know some stuff about if they are regular polygons. So I'm going to go ahead and like fill this chart out. I will be posting this on the It's Learning, but you need to make sure that you like understand how I'm getting these numbers, because you will be expected to produce these numbers on a test. So obviously we know that the name of our first three-sided shape is a triangle. We're going to go through and name all of them first. 4 sides is a quadrilateral. 5 sides is a pentagon. Where did quadrilateral go? 6 sides is a hexagon. 7 sides is a heptagon. 8 sides, octagon. Is that how you spell it? I hope so. 9 sides is a nonagon. 10 sides is a decagon. And we're going to add another row down here. For 12 sides is a dodecagon. And I probably should have filled in the numbers. 2, 12, 10. Okay. So you don't need to memorize these names. They will be like in the notes, obviously, for any test that we take. Just make sure that you like spell the names right when you're doing it on a test. Okay. 3 and 4. Okay. So the next thing we need to talk about is the number of triangles. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that when I draw the diagonals through these shapes, how many triangles are made when I draw a diagonal. Now, in the first picture, obviously, if you have a triangle, there's no diagonals that can go through the middle. So that means there's only one triangle, okay? In a quadrilateral, I'm going to draw a diagonal through the middle. I'm going to draw it carefully. There we go. How many triangles does that make? Well, that makes 2 triangles. Okay. In a pentagon, well, I can't draw a diagonal to that side, so I'm going to draw to this corner and this corner. You can't draw to that corner. So how many triangles is 1 over there, 1 in the middle, 1 down there? So that's going to be 3 triangles. Okay, so let's start from this corner. We're drawing up, over. I'm just drawing lines to all the corners. How many triangles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you are like seeing a pattern about the relationship between the number of sides and the number of triangles. Okay, heptagon, we draw the lines to the corners. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bet the next one has 6. Here we go. Drawing to the corners, to the corners, to the corners. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we get the pattern. It's going up by 1 every time, but the relationship between the number of sides and number of triangles is the number of triangles is always 2 less than the number of sides. So if there's 10 sides, minus 2 is 8. If there's 12 sides, minus 2 would be 10 triangles. Now, why is that important? Why do I care how many triangles are in there? Well, because if you know how many triangles there are, then you know what number the angles should add up to on the inside. So what do I mean? Well, here we go. What am I pushing? Type. New color. Purple. Okay, now we know one triangle, how many degrees are in a triangle, throwback to first semester, is 180 degrees. Great. In a 4-sided shape, there are 2 triangles, so we would do 180, that's how many are in a triangle, times 2, is what number? Well, if you don't know, you would type 180 times 2 in the calculator equals 360. So in any quadrilateral, we know that all the angles together should add up to 360. We continue. In a pentagon, there are 3 triangles, so we're doing 180 times 3, which I need to type in the calculator because I don't know it off the top of my head. So here we go. 180 times 3 is 540. So pentagons add up to 540. Hexagon, how do we figure out what they add up to? Well, we do 180 times number of triangles was 4 equals, I don't know, let's find out. 180 times 4 is 720. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this table. So 7 sides, we know that's going to have 5 triangles. That's what we just figured out. And we type 180 times 5 is 900. 900. Whoops. 180 for 8 sides, that's 6 triangles. Why is there that extra space in there? Here we go. 6 triangles is going to multiply to 1080. 180 times 7 is something 1260. Decagon. 180 times 8 is also something. So you would have to be like, if you're going to answer a question like this on a test, I would have to see you actually figuring out, like writing down 180 times 8 equals 1440. Okay. So that's why I'm telling you, you need to pay attention to how I'm getting these numbers. Okay. So now that we have filled out, we know these at the end. So that is what the angles would add up to. All the angles. If you added them all together in each shape, they should add up to this number. Now we're going to talk about what a regular polygon is. So if this is a regular polygon, now what does that mean? Regular means that all the sides and all the angles are equal. So where are we going to put that? We're going to put that up there. All sides and angles are equal. There we go. Hello, friend. Thank you. Okay, all sides and angles are equal. That's what regular means. So that means if I know that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180, and I know they're all supposed to be equal, then how do I figure out what one of them is? Well, you're just going to divide. So I'm doing 180 divided by how many angles would be in a triangle. Well, there's 1, 2, 3 angles. So 180 divided by 3 equals, we would type that in to the calculator. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So I know if it is a regular triangle, so all the sides and angles are equal, then that means one of the angles is 60. We are noticing we are dividing by how many angles there are, not how many triangles there are. So in quadrilateral, now my angles add up to 360. If they are all the same, I'm dividing by how many angles? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to divide to 90. I know that one off the top of my head. Okay. So we're seeing how this column is different from the interior angle. You take your interior angle. So like on pentagon, we're taking 540 divided by how many sides? 5. And it's going to equal something. 540 divided by 5 is 108. That is not this. Here we go. 108. Okay. You would go through and fill in the rest. I will go through and fill it in later. You don't need to see it in the video. Look at the notes on It's Learning to see what the rest of the chart looks like. Okay, so that's if we're talking about interior angles. If you are not aware, interior means the inside, so maybe I'll type that up there. We're talking about inside angles. Okay. If we're talking about exterior angles, then that means we're talking about the angles on the outside of the shape. So this one's pretty easy to remember. Exterior angles, no matter what shape we are talking about, they always add up to 360. All the time, no matter what. So you can put 360 in every box here. I'm going to just draw the little line. 360 for all of them. Okay? All right, so if it's a regular polygon, again, that means that all the angles would be equal. So this time, if the outside angles always add up to 360, we haven't done red yet, then I would do the outside that they add up to divided by the number of angles, which is the same as the number of sides. So 360 divided by 3 is going to be 120. Okay. For quadrilaterals, oh, their exterior adds up to 360, but now there's 4 angles, so divided by 4, that's going to give me 90. For pentagon, oh, their outsides add up to 360, divided by the 5 angles is 72. If you don't know, type it in the calculator, it will tell you. Hexagon, 360, because we're talking about the outside, divided by how many angles? 6 is gonna equal 60. I will go through and fill out the rest of this chart. So make sure you save this picture, the one that's in It's Learning. Make sure you save it, have the chart ready to look at it for all the questions that we're about to do. Okay.